All right, we're rolling. This is Freedom Phil. Like and subscribe. Let's get into it. And what's the topic for the story? Is anonymity on the internet really a good thing, bad thing? What is it? Because recently, when they revealed, I think it was on Twitter or X as they call it now, um, that they were revealing where accounts were from. It turned out that a lot of accounts that talk a lot about, different political things in all sorts of different countries or movement, this would be like some guy in India or China or Russia or some random part of Africa where, $1,000 per year is quite literally, what people make in an entire year working. So you got some guy with a decent internet connection basically farming a bunch of people in other countries. Like, yeah, we need to stand up and blah, blah, blah. Translation, Matabwe or Sanjay, whatever, Punjab, whatever, is sitting over there at a computer like, okay, ChatGPT, farm outrage, okay, this. And then, of course, and this is, by the way, you see this in riots and protests and all that. You have guys. So, like, you have, like, human versions of bot accounts in real protests or something, guys that show up and they kind of hype up the group. You'll see this in the arena type of things as well, where people are like, like to get the energy up. Well, you do the same thing online with a bunch of fake bots. Like just these people who literally buy views, buy subs, and buy this, and it's obvious they're buying subs because their content would be shit. And it works, and eventually the algorithm doesn't know the fucking difference, so they get paid. Okay, it's a good scam, I'll give you that. But when you think about that from the perspective of somebody talking about like political discourse or movement discourse in somebody else's country, and quite literally they don't live in your country, and the only stake they really have in the game is being like an arms dealer, inflame this side, inflame that side. In fact, they might have this account over here and this account over there. And basically they have these two accounts fighting each other, building steam between them, because blood sports is entertaining. I'm just being honest, it is. And so people get all interested in that, and they stand for something. And of course, some funny memes and whatnot. But when you really get down to it, the reality is how many of these foreign organizations, people and whatnot, this is just a job for them. Your outrage, your problems, and the problems they foment and cause, the comments and the rage they cause in people, the disturbance, that's their business. It's no different than an arms dealer selling to both sides. Now, I think when you reveal where people are, like you say, well, this person lives in some other country or they live in this particular state. And it's kind of a mixed argument because, a lot of people that would want to do harm to you, they want to know where you're at. So they can try to swat you or something. Like they'll ask you these probing questions. Where do you live? Where are you from? Like this, I always use the kind of slow retard voice for it because it's usually robots asking it, or people that are as dumbass robots. Like robots or retards, one of the two. And some of them, when they get mad at you, they'll send in ghost accounts trying to figure out where you live so they can swat you. And I think if someone commits swatting, they should be charged with attempted murder. And why? Because your goal is you're hoping that something goes wrong with the police and that person gets shot. Yeah. So there is a mixed argument for the idea of, online identity. I mean, look at the UK. Do you have a license for that tweet? Meanwhile, your children are being sexually assaulted by some fucking migrant that you never wanted in your community. Like they just showed up, came across the shores. And meanwhile, you say, I'm not happy with the way things are turning out. Oh, that's an offensive tweet. So there is this kind of thing where you do need anonymity. But this is also part of the reason I'd say when it comes to politics, I enjoy some political football, but I don't take most of it seriously. And there's for one major omnipresent reason why I don't take any of it seriously. Frankly, the only one who's really going to do the best for you is you. You go out there, work hard, save your money, live as cheap as possible. And I'm talking like you're not even living in an apartment. You live in a tent or with your parents or a van, live in a truck. However you can get the cheap rent, live with a bunch of other people in a share room. Like there's 2 bedrooms and one of them's just for Yeah, like if your boy's in there, or if it's a girl, that means the rest of you got to sleep in the living room or in the garage. Like one guy was telling me the story. We lived in a house that small of 6 guys, and so if one guy was using the room for the lady, mind you, there were bunk beds in that room, but still, it's a place to bang. When they came out, they had to scream the phrase after getting laid. I have the power, and he said this dude was saying when he did that one time, the chick was like, "What the fuck?" It just goes running out of the house. Whatever you got to do to save the money, live cheaper to where you can actually pay cash for things, invest when you're young. That has nothing to do with politics or social movements or anything. And the fact that message never gets out there because it's easier just to say, hey, vote this way and someone will make it better for your life. But then then that becomes a money issue. When your bread and butter, when you get a bunch of welfare recipients that their entire existence is based off of, whether they're faking crazy or just cranking out kids, their entire existence is based on whether you show up to work and pay taxes. They've got a moneyed interest in keeping you at work and them at home and voting for more of your shit. Now imagine there's people in other countries that help inflame those tensions. Like I said, like an arms dealer, they'd have bots on both sides. Now, this is one reason I would argue, as much as you can enjoy the internet to a certain degree, maybe check out of it. Maybe go watch some airwave TV, like something more normal. Go watch some All in the Family or some MASH or something like that. Go watch a sports game or something. Go for a walk. Go outside, go see the beautiful wasteland, button cactuses and creosote bush and whatever the fuck that shrubbery, the hell cactus is over there. There's another hell cactus right there. Fuck, for my dog, those things are like, ah! They produce, when they die, they produce thousands of little caltrops that they call seeds. Glad I have shoes. But yeah, go out and go fishing, do some gardening, smoke a bowl, bang your girlfriend, I point this out because I do think it's like the fact that how much of our political discourse is being manipulated by people in other countries. Just like, during the Cold War, America was fucking with their country's propaganda, and their countries were fucking with America's propaganda. You don't believe me? Look at all the crap out of Hollywood. Tell me that wasn't Russia propaganda, quietly masked. Hell, a lot of the feminism and stuff like that. Quiet propaganda, masked well, becomes a cultural movement. It comes in the underculture, then it gets into the media, and then 10 years later, it's the norm. Just saying. Now imagine for a second that a lot of these so-called movements, someone's getting a paycheck in a country like, I don't know, Kenya, Somalia, where $1,000 a year, 1,000 USD is a year's wages, and they made $250, $300 a month there. They're living like a king off of doing the most basic bitch bot shit. That's their business. And that's kind of why I think at the very least, as far as the internet goes, yeah, they should identify account from America, account from India, account from the UK. It should at least say that. I'm not saying you got to identify where the person lives, but it should be well known. They're like, well, they'll use VPNs. Oh, you're so stupid. They'll use VPNs. I'm going to tell you right now, VPNs are a thing that'll be allowed to exist until they're not. And if a country says you're not allowed to have an account, if you find out they're using a VPN, you're permanently banned. And then there's another thing. What about full ID? Like I said, with the whole swatting thing, that's why people don't want full ID, because there's psychopaths out there. But when you get these people that get so obsessed, like where they show some fucking psycho killer or some shit, but with a computer, and they're like, what do you mean you blocked me? I'll make another account and another account and another account. Like, I know there's people that think what's funny is this shit happens so much. I've been on channels before, and I dare to say a comment opposing something, and they think it's somebody else. Has it ever occurred to you that your ideas might be crap and I'm not the only one that noticed? No. But you do have people out there that because they become fucking obsessed, like some, hasn't taken a bath in weeks Reddit mod. Like their goal becomes the control of the conversation. I could see it being a thing where if it comes out like I'd love a, you know what? How about a platform where it's voluntary? Yeah, you have to identify where you're at. And if it turns out that you're basically like you can't make a bunch of other accounts. You have an internet. You could have the internet where it's old school ID, old school way, or you have anonymity, and then you could have platforms where they're like, no, we expect you to actually say who you are and where you're at. And if it turns out that you're blocked by somebody, you're just permanently blocked by them. And then people can go on their merry fucking way. I bet, in a wild thought here, if you only got one life, or you had to go through a process to actually, what, by the way, if someone blocks you, that should just be it, unless they feel like unblocking you for any reason. And I bet that would cause civility on the internet really quick. Yeah. And then if you want the Wild Western, like you're in a chat room and boys will be doing boys talk, and, women will tear each other apart. If you think men are fucking bad, look at the way women treat each other. I'm just saying. But if you want to have that, you can have that. But when it comes down to the serious conversations, I do see times that anonymity is just a fucking joke. It's just a joke that allows people that are predatory to be assholes. And it also allows people that are predatory to swat people if they don't have it. And I was like, man, fucking go outside and walk. Peace.